Hello, welcome everyone. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, which is home of Going Solo and Going Bold and our radio station. We want to thank you guys for being with us here tonight. I am your host. I am Cece Shatz, and this show is called Going Solo with Cece. And I want to thank you again for all that you guys do out there. I mean, you guys are listening to us and you respond to us, and I know that you're actually sharing a lot of information with some of the other hosts and stuff. So I really want to thank you for reaching out and doing all that you do, because this station would not be here if it wasn't for you. So we want to thank you so much. Those of you that don't know me, welcome. Please subscribe to our channel. We would greatly appreciate it. And like any of the shows that you do listen to, this one is called Going Solo with Cece. I am fondly called the Doyenne of Relationship Building. I am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. And just right off the bat, I want to let you know how you can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me by my personal website, which is Going Solo on the GoingSoloNetwork.com if you want to check out that website. And my email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. I'm the only one that opens those emails. So you're more than welcome to go ahead and send me an email and ask me any questions or whatever, and I will answer that directly. So that's goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Now we've got a great guest on here tonight, as we always do. This individual, what you're going to find out tonight, and I think this is so valuable to you, is that you're going to discover an empowering conversation, reclaiming independence, embracing personal growth, and finding freedom through healing and self-awareness, which is what we are all about here on Going Solo. We're all about really finding yourself, healing from within, and moving forward, really making yourself the best person that you can possibly be. And there is no other than Carol Williams. I'm going to bring her up. She will help you do this. It is amazing, all that she does. And our topic tonight is owning my freedom. And Carol Williams, you have a company called Beacon of Light Center. And tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into doing what you're doing now.
Oh, thanks. Well, to be honest with you, I got laid off. So I had to do something. And that was back in 2009. So I thought, wow, great recession. What a beautiful time to start a business, So, I didn't really think that, but I didn't feel as though I had a lot of options, right? So because my old profession was in the construction industry, and there was just really no construction. Mm-hmm. So with a couple of little kids and a toxic husband at the time, I went out and I went like really fast and really crazy, which maybe we'll get to at some point. But that's how it all began. But believe me, that was a long time ago. I've really evolved since then. Mm-hmm. And my business, this has changed names 3 times. And it's really grown and changed. In 2017, I went to a retreat. I came up with the Beacon of Light Center there, but I didn't change the name of my company until 2022. The mission of the Beacon of Light Center is to spread love, light, and joy through the world. I, however, am the only coach in the center. Someday it will be a physical center. In fact, we've just invested in a center in Costa Rica, but and I'm looking at doing things probably globally, but we're going to start right here in New Hampshire with some physical things. But in the meantime, as that's happening, I am the only coach right now, and I have a lot of experience helping other coaches build, launch, and scale their businesses. And I've really dialed it down. Mm-hmm. And what I've discovered I'm really good at, and I have the most fun with, and they have the most fun and the most results, is mid-level coaches, women, usually married, 50s, 60s, that's the age group, who are really ready to level up without burning out because they're so tired of working so hard for so little money. And those are my people. So that's the transformation I provide right now in this now moment. But as I say, with a much bigger global influence, with a good dollop of divine feminine, because that's kind of my edge that I'm kind of having some fun with right now.
Yeah, I think that is so valuable. It's so important because so many times we're at this transition stage, which is what going solo is really all about. And a lot of people think it is about singles, and we do resonate with a lot of singles, but it's really about that internal individual, that we have ourselves, our own voice that we have, and what we want to try to achieve ourselves personally. And it's so important to have someone that can kind of help guide us and move us forward as we're making that transition. Because coaches, and I'm a coach too. I get it. And you're a certified coach. I want to make sure everyone knows that you are certified, and you're a single mom of 2 boys, which is very cool. So, but we need help along the way to be able to continue not only to grow individually, but to also, try to navigate our businesses in today's world, because it's forever changing. I'm in the technology stage, the media stage, and that is forever growing. It's so swift. It's moving so fast. So what do you say to someone who's been in their business and they're feeling like a little bit stuck? And we're going to be sharing this on our BizBuzz show, our business show too, to kind of help people there. But what would you say to those individuals that feel a little bit stuck and they're not quite sure on exactly what to do? How do they elevate their business? How do they make that connection with their audience?
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of questions in there. How they feel stuck, they want to elevate their business, and they want to connect with their audience. So I wouldn't say they're all the same thing. The way things begin is they begin with a evaluation or a reevaluation of where you see things going in several years. Like I like 3 years. And once we can ask ourselves and really dial in where we want to be in 3 years, because it changes, right? That helps us with the perspective of where we are today and where we want to go. And I call that decide. I actually have a whole map of how it works. Decide, discern, discover, practice, celebrate. And the first thing is decide. So lots of times if we feel stuck, the truth is we probably haven't really decided what we really want. We think we have, but we probably haven't. And part of that is saying, well, what do I want? What is saying I want? Like, I want to double my income. What is saying that continuously doing for me? What are my prizes for doing that? Because we get stuck in the I want, not in where we are today, right? And there's a prize in that. So that's number one. Your other questions had to do with connecting with their audience?
Well, your audience or your clients, if you're coaching, it would be your clients, your whoever is going to pay for your services, right? So you want to be able to connect with them.
Yeah, the way to connect with somebody that you either know or you don't know is to understand better what they want. It goes back to what they want in their words, not doctored up, not coach speak, but actually in their words. So if somebody says, for example, I work with, some coaches that I coach work with people in their later years. And in fact, I just had a podcast with somebody like that. Maybe I'll connect you with her. She says a lot of her clients say that it's too late. So they're so stuck on that, it's too late. But here's the thing. She knows they say that. So how she connects with that is she might be on a podcast herself. She has a podcast, but she might, type something in like, do you feel like it's too late? Or a post or a note to her client. So that's how we connect with our clients or our potential clients, our audience. We have to be where they are. Lots of times as coaches, what happens is we have evolved. We get to this place up here, but our people are still in their pain in an earlier phase. And what we have to remember is that we all start somewhere. And if this person thinks that we're too far ahead or we don't understand them, they'll tune you out. So it's really important. So that's one thing. And the second way to connect with them is to paint the picture of what it could be and at the same time giving examples of people who just like them who have done it. Because part of what keeps us stuck is a belief in the back of our head, oh, Carol can do it, but I could never do it. And that's what I hope to get to here, is to say that if I can do it, I know you, whoever you is on the other side, if you're perhaps an entrepreneur, a coach, a solopreneur, saying, oh, yeah, you can be successful like that, but I never could. And that's why I love vulnerability.
Yeah, I totally get that, because I started this business when I was 50. So I totally, when I first started, I thought the same thing. I thought, I'm too old. I'm too old for this. Who's going to want to listen to me? Who's going to, am I going to have that relatability? And what I learned is that there are other people out there just like me, going through the same struggles that I go through. Yeah. And so I've been definitely been able to connect with them. And that's why I think they give me that title, the Doyenne of Relationship Building, because it's all really about building a relationship, whether you're in person or you're online, you're still building that. And so I've been going, almost 19 years now. So it's like, it's nonstop. But it's really believing in yourself. Number one, believing in it. You can believe in like what you're doing, right? Like the coaching, you believe in your services that you provide and things like that. But you truly have to believe in you. You have to, don't you? You have to believe in what you're capable of doing, and can you go the distance? Because it's all about it being consistent and going the distance, right?
Yeah, you definitely do. And one thought is not if, but when you don't, have a place to go where you can remind yourself of the impact that you do have. So some people I know might have like a little book of testimonials, or, I have a reel on my, on my YouTube, where various people have said things. And because we're always going to have ups and downs, aren't we? As entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, like it's not going to, every day is not Disney. We try to pretend this on the outside, but the truth is that everybody has bad days, bad weeks, and you feel like doo-doo, and when you feel like that, then the gremlins start, and who do you think you are anyway, and all those kinds of voices. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can't always, there's other voices out there that may not be positive to what you are doing. If you're trailblazing, if you're doing something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, and if you are, good for you, but it's sometimes it really takes a lot, and you need someone like yourself, Carol, a coach, to kind of be in your corners, to kind of tackle some of those things that are down. Because people that are visionaries, I have a really good friend, Joanne, and she's a tremendous visionary. And a lot of people look at her as a lot of her ideas, and they question them. But the reality is they can come true. I mean, some of the stuff that she projects, in the future is going to probably happen, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, visionaries, creative visionaries are really fun to work with, and they sometimes can be really challenging, right? Because they think up here, meta, and they really suffer from this idea that they have to do steps and sort of the boring stuff. But there's always ways to kind of knit together and have the beautiful knit together with the today. And I find the most difficult thing for many people is to make the steps small. We always want to have these really tall, big steps to make the big impact. And you know what can happen? They become so big, we just don't do them. because they're just too big, right? So like this show, you didn't start on day one having this show and all the other shows that you have, right? You
Right.
started at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to take the baby steps along the way. So when let's say we're deciding, we're thinking about it, we're, making a transition in our lives and we're deciding, okay, I want to go into business. I want to do something. And I'm not quite sure exactly where to start. I've got an idea, right? I've got a creative idea. So they come to you, and what would you say to them? How to start preparing themselves?
Yeah, I'd probably. So the next step is discern after decide, and discern is probably really good for that. Oftentimes, I'll work with people who it's not just an idea, but they've actually been doing this work for a while. But occasionally, people will come in and describe, and in either case, discern is really good because we go very, very deeply into. Some of the audience may have heard this ikigai. It's a Japanese word, right? And the Western circles it's what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. The Venn diagram of that, and I walk people through it in a group way over a couple of months. And that may sound like, are you kidding me? Can't we just do that in a day or two? I've tried it. It doesn't work as well because there's a lot of reflection that goes on. My biggest problem when I first started was that I tried to go too fast. I told you I was going to tell a little bit about that. I find that if we're in a big fat rush to find something and do it quickly and try to make money and because that was me, what that sets us up for is decisions that are made without enough due diligence. And when we don't have that due diligence, then we're not on very strong footing. So that's why I have the discern before we get to the discover. So that's what I would tell them. I'd say, let's really dial into this and let's test it and see, is this really lined up with what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for?
Wow, that's very good advice. Very, very good advice. And those out there that are listening, if it's something that if you're really looking at, starting something and you're just not quite sure on what to do and how to go about doing it, I think it's really great to be able to, listen to the show, hear you, because you've done that yourself. You've experienced that yourself and you've gone through some of those steps, and sometimes we have to pivot or we have to back up a little bit, right? I always say, take 2 steps forward and several steps back, as we learn and grow. And the same thing with here on our network, we did the same thing. We started out with the going solo, and then we realized that as individuals are moving forward and they're making that transition into their lives, they're boldly stepping forward. And we've got to continue to do that in our lives. We've got to continue to step forward and keep grasping and wanting more. And so that's where we brought in the going bold. And then the new streaming was just underneath all of that, bringing all that in as the umbrella. Wow. So I love the idea that you tell people and you share your life that it has evolved for you, because that's really truly what business is about, right? It's not like, okay, I'm going to start a business, bang, I'm going to knock out the door and I'm going to be really successful. It's like life. It constantly evolves, and we have to keep making shifts and pivots as we move forward.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that. I love that you've got things in place to be able to help people recognize that and then do that. So any other advice that you can, as they're stepping forward and they're making that transition?
Yeah. I mean, I'll ask people point blank about their money. Sometimes people believe that they're going to make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time. And what I find is that it's really beautiful to do those projections and to get your ducks in a row and to be positive and so on. You'd better have have a cushion, a backup plan, something, right?
Mhm.
So some people might slowly bring it on while they're still working full time or work part time, or if you're lucky enough to have a spouse that can handle it, or you've got a slush fund somewhere, or whatever it is. Because what happens, like for me, is what happened is I needed to make money yesterday. And when you have to make money yesterday, what happens is you get into this spin of insanity. And spin of insanity is, it makes you insane. And what ended up happening was I burned through all of my Roth IRA. I had when I got divorced, I had a regular IRA and then a Roth, my portion of the money. And I burned through the whole Roth, which was a smaller amount, but still, and so, now it's getting rebuilt. But did I really want to do that? Well, no, but you got to do something. So money is actually a really, really, really big, important part of it, So I address that. I address what the desire is and what the actual needs are. And we do a projection of, all right, what do I have cash reserves? What's coming in? How long can that last? And then what risk can I take on?
Yeah, that's great, because not only do you have to put money into your business, right? But you also have to sustain yourself as you go along.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, people don't always think about it. Yeah, you drain everything, and then you realize I can't pay my rent or what, or mortgage payment. So yeah, so you have to keep sustaining with that. But like for me, I worked the business and the full-time job for many years. Yeah. I did that, and I was very lucky with one of my jobs that they felt it was a that it was a public service. And so they actually allowed me to have time off to do a show. So because when I started, I did a show during the day, and they let me have the time off to do it, and they paid me while I was off to do it. So because they felt it was a public service. So I really have a big shout out to them for feeling that way and doing that. I had a great boss. Great boss.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was very lucky. So that's the thing, is like you do need support along the way, don't you? So
well, yeah, you definitely can't do it in a vacuum. Another thing I learned, and I learned these all pretty hard lessons. Of course, I was going through a lot. I had a toxic husband, and I left, and I had my boys were really small. You call 2 boys now, like they're actually men. One's 18, that's technically a man. And then the other one, he's going to be 24 like next month. So I think maybe I need to change my bio a little bit, but at any rate, yeah. So gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Do you remember what I was saying?
Yeah, about like sustaining. We were talking about sustaining ourselves and, having some help along the way.
Help along the way. Yeah, absolutely. So we have to be mindful that whatever business we're looking to get into, that what we want to do, well, one of my big mistakes is that I was in so much of a rush that I didn't slow down enough to think about what I really wanted to do, and then find a coach, a mentor, a program, a proven template with step-by-step and support. And it was 2015. So 6 years later, of course, I was going through a lot, so I need to give myself a little grace. But that was the biggest thing. And once I did that, once I said yes to that, it's a little bit late, it made all the difference, because now I wasn't just this whirling dervish of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping things would stick and trying to keep up with things, which incidentally wasn't doing very well, as I was going through my Roth at the time, and also just accepting any help I could get. Thank you very much. Donations of time or whatever, food, anything, because it was truly crazy. But when that happened, that was a pivot. So I would say, take a breath, slow down, expect to mess up, invest in something that you see somebody out there, maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody else, that says, oh, she or he has done the thing that I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to do it all by yourself, because creative, visionary, amazing people, like I'm one of those, and I know a lot of them. We think we can like just do it all on our own, And to some degree that's true, but I'll tell you what, you want to emulate before you innovate, right? You want to kind of copy what's known to work, and then go break the mold.
Right. That's totally, that's something. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. Well, we're gonna have to take a break. We've been talking here for a while.
Okay.
And but I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you. So before we do, let's make sure we do that. You guys, you can reach Carol at unscatteredme.com, and her website is unscatteredme.com. That's UNSCATTER me.com. Make sure that you do reach out to her. And I mean, I think this is some great information that we have here today. And if you're looking to really excel in your business, or you're ready to make some sort of transition, you need to do something, now is the time. She also has a great book. So it's From Scattered and Stuck to Focus and Confident. So you can buy that on the website. So again, go to unscatteredme.com and buy the book there, because that will also help, educate you as you move forward in everything. And when we come back, we're going to share the event that she has, which I think is very interesting. It's really all about learning, not only learning of yourself, but really learning how to handle your business and move forward. And she certainly can help you. So we have Carol Williams here with us. And Carol, thank you so much. We do totally appreciate you. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, which is home of newstreamingnetwork.com, Going Solo, Going Bold, and our radio station, WGSN-DB. So we want to thank you guys for joining us here tonight. You're listening to Going Solo with Cece. I am Cece Shatz. I'm fondly called the Doyenne of Relationship Building, and I am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. I guess a media coach too, because I've kind of wearing the hat on that for quite a while now. And we do have our wonderful guest here today, Carol Williams, with the Beacon of Light Center. And we're talking about owning my freedom, and a lot of great tips that she has given us. She is a certified coach and a single mom of 2 boys who are kind of grown now, but she's made it through. And she really does help individuals who are, we were saying that in the latter part of your life, I don't know what they call it now, how they word it so nicely, but the latter part of your life, if you're a coach and you're looking to try to excel in your business, she definitely helps you with that. So so let's talk a little bit about this event that you do, because I was very surprised to see that. And I was very delighted to see it. So I'm going to put the information up. So it's the Overachievers Club. So tell us about that, because that sounds so interesting.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it actually started about 7 years ago as a way to say thank you for being on my email list. And I called it Lunchtime Love then, and it's evolved. And what I've learned is that the people who are drawn to me are very high achievers. And to some degree, maybe they might even be overachievers. You remember earlier when I talked about their visionaries, and they're up here on the Zoom screen, maybe even they're off the bubble, but if they're not don't see the steps all the time, and they can tend to get a little scattered because they like a lot of things, you know what I mean? And so if that sounds like, ooh, that might be me, you may want to come, and it won't cost you a dime. Every single month, I do a free, it's not a webinar, it's about a teaching for about 15 minutes. And then we do a open discussion, hot seat coaching. And it's usually the first Monday, but sometimes the second Monday. So in December, it's going to be the second Monday because I'm actually a speaker in a summit the first Monday. So I can't do two things at once, try to, but usually doesn't work. And we're really going to be talking about what bold actions can I take without getting overwhelmed in December in order to set myself up for January. And that's going to be really fun. And then I'm going to have another small one on the 5th around creativity. I have a special guest that's coming in, and then the big one that's coming in, and it isn't even listed just yet on the page. But the big one is my biggest event because it's a paid event. It's only like $97. It's not a lot of money, but it's a paid event. It's 2 hours long. And that's where we really roll up our sleeves and we get deeply into the decide. Remember earlier I talked about decide, discern, discover, practice, celebrate. And people think they've decided, but they haven't really decided. And that's a lot of times where they fail. This, you will nail your decision. You will go really deep. I cap the people at like 10 people. So if more than that register, I'll usually make another event if I can. But anyway, I go deep, I keep it small, and it's really, it can be life-changing, in 2 hours. And then I do like a bonus dive call. So anyway, that's it. That's the Overachievers Club. And of course, we'll meet monthly after that. But the big one is January. So if anybody here is listening and can switch around their schedule for December 8th, I think you won't regret it. You'll love meeting us. And it won't cost you a dime. And if you're on the East Coast, it's in your lunchtime anyway. You've got zero to lose.
Okay. I think that's great. So again, it's right on the website. And you just sign up for it. And I think it's great. She'll give you the Zoom link and yep. You go with that. I think that's wonderful. So this has really been a very interesting show. And you do so much to help. I mean, you have the book, you have the events, you go on different podcasts and things like that to try to help and share all that you do. Are there any last words you'd like to share with our audience? I want to make sure we cover, the important things, anything that we might have missed, because we've got another 10 minutes if we can spend, and anything we've missed that you'd like to share.
All your answers are living within you. Mm-hmm. And when we can be quiet and listen to ourselves and trust ourselves to take that next step, then we become more grounded and whole. And it's the opposite of how I lived my whole life up until several years ago. And now that I do that on a regular basis, it has helped me be even more creative. Mm-hmm. Because who's ever listening to this, you are wise, you are creative. And if the answers aren't inside of you, when you get quiet, you'll know who to ask, and or the right thing will appear. So do whatever spiritual practice is yours, and you will get there. And please reach out if you have any questions, because I love to help people discover their greatness. And that's the third step.
Yeah, I love that. I really do believe that too. It's that all the answers are within. We just have to kind of, be quiet, ask ourselves, and really, listen, and the answers will come of what we need to do. I love that. And I also think we need a little help along the way. So, I believe in coaching. I truly do. And connecting with the person that can really hear you out and kind of help direct you and steer you in the way you need to go. I think that's very important. So I do love the idea that it's Beacon of Light Center is your business. Beacon of Light Center. It's wonderful. So, and then also, you guys, if you want to reach out to Carol, you can just send her an email at carol@unscatteredme.com. That's carol@unscatteredme.com. And then again, her website is unscatteredme.com. Sign up for, the event and take advantage of learning something new and connecting with other professionals that can help. You never know, they can help boost you, move you forward. And you might just hear something ever so slight that can change your life, change your business.
Or you could learn something amazing.
That is very true. That is very true. I love that. I love that. But it is true. But sometimes it's the smallest things that you go bing, and it really does just make a difference for you. And then also remember the book is there. Take advantage of that. So you can buy the book at the website, and that can also help you along the way. And so absolutely. I want to thank you, Carol, so much for being on the show here with us tonight. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
And very, very nice. And I hope you'll come back again.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. If you want to reach me, you just go to goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Send me any email that you'd like. I'd love to be able to connect and listen to any questions or anything like you have. I'd love to be able to respond to those. And then, of course, my website, my personal website is goingsolonetwork.com. And of course, you're on newsstreamingnetwork.com, which is our media, and that is all of our content. We have the live TV shows, we have all the podcasts, and then the radio station, which is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and then the Going Solo and Going Bold combined under one place on the website, which is newsstreamingnetwork.com. So I want to thank everyone for listening and helping us grow and connecting with us. You're wonderful. And if we can help you along the way, that's what Carol and I want to do. We want to definitely give you a heads up and hand along the way. So thank you for listening. I am Cece Shatz, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now, everyone.